Perfect. Hi, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. I'm Shwetank, the founder and CEO of Kui. We are a intent-based personalization platform on Shopify, help you convert more from conversion optimization perspective. And I'm very fortunate, lucky, and very happy to have Guillaume with us today. And I can say a lot of good things about him, but I would let Guillaume talk about it himself so that you guys hear it from him. So welcome.
Thank you, Shwetank. Very happy to share the webinar with you today, and thanks very much for your invitation. When we met back last month in London, really appreciate. So I'm Guillaume. I'm French. I'm from Paris, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Live Me Up, which is a live shopping automation platform designed and built for Shopify merchants. And our ambition is to provide any merchants with a live shopping solution, which is fully automated and helps merchants to innovate in their engagement with their customers. But I'm sure we're going to speak this point later in the webinar. So thanks very much for your invitation, Shwetank.
Of course, pleasure. And guys, feel free to write down your questions, think about very different perspective. We're going to talk about a lot of CRO and conversion optimizations, and we will try to keep it as less techy sounding as possible, but just stop us. So starting, looking at what we pinned down as a topic for the conversation today is real-time customer engagement. So there are multiple reasons that why we thought this was a good idea, because conversion optimization, as we call it as a term, it's the lowest ever since the decade. Right? It's still an average 3% globally. Whatever increase in deep tech, AI has come in place, that's all related on the advertisement side, not really an engagement side, which is run inside your Shopify app or Shopify website, etc. Companies still suffer from it. Even when we talk about personalization, if you look at the personalization apps which are there on Shopify, some of them date back to 2014, and the penetration they have in the market is 0.3. That's the best personalization app available on Shopify, because I think people now are understanding more about how to deliver that unique customer experience and how to really entice and delight your customers. And all of them go back to the very important point that to understand what the customer really wants. And for that, you need to go and understand the data. So look at each customer, what they want, and then kind of offer them something in real time, because we all are suffering from the fact that our attention spans are reducing, which has gone down to about 25% in the past 10 years. And also looking at, we are all spoiled by choices. There's not just one e-commerce brand today which offers anything so unique that, you don't have an option. E-commerce brands themselves are struggling a lot to differentiate in the market. So spoiled by choices and attention, it is to go and offer the customer that unique experience in seconds is where we kind of agreed on real-time engagement, why it's so important for all of us. It's kind of becoming mandatory now, not optional anymore. And again, what Guillaume and his team is doing, is this perfect example of that. So let me start my first question to Guillaume, and the idea is that we'll go ahead and have an open conversation about a lot of different topics. So feel free to share your point of view on the chat as well whenever you feel like. The first one is, if you look at the average conversion rate, what I was talking about, Guillaume, it's 3%, right? On average. In the US is about 2.89, in the UK is about 2.4, some of the countries are even lower. And if you go and look at e-commerce segments, fashion is pretty different, jewelry is different, food is different, but on average less than 3%. Why would you think that you'll spend money to bring 100 people on your Shopify store and less than 3 people actually end up buying?
And it's been years that we are working on this conversion rate. So what we understand today, both of us, is that we are at a ceiling. But behind this question, there's another one. Is about the way you acquire your customers, because I mean, the old paradigm was I pay for ads to acquire customer. They come to my website, and because I do very well my job, my conversion rate is up to 3%. Once again, a couple of years ago, it was maybe 2%. So with tons of adjustment, we can reach now around 2.5, 3%. The question that is happening since last year is that it's much more expensive to acquire customer. The algorithm is more difficult to control. iOS 16 put a lot of pressure on the acquisition, and so on. So now globally, the ROAS from your ads on the social network on Google has decreased by half, from roughly 7 to 3. So it's double the price to keep the same flow of customers entering your e-com. And so suddenly the conversion rate is not enough anymore, because I mean it's twice the price for the same customer number. So where are we going today? And that is the question you ask: is what's the next paradigm after the one that everybody masters today, acquisition conversion? So where are we going to go in the coming months or in the coming years to create a new paradigm and to invent a new paradigm?
Yeah, because something needs to change, and something needs to drastically change here. When we talk about, okay, your website needs to be mobile optimized. Okay, you need to make sure that the loading speed is fine. All these are things that now a lot of platforms let you do inherently. Shopify is a very good example of it, right? Lets you test all that straight away so that you don't have to spend a lot of time separately. But even if with all this, it's still the same problem. So we have to definitely take a step much more forward than those traditional aspects. That brings to me, the next direction that I want to go into is when people talk about CRO. What, in your opinion or definition, is a CRO? What does it entail? What are the kind of steps, or what are the kind of things that you would recommend in today's digital first era that people should consider if they are looking at CRO?
The point is that CRO is a metric today that measures the conversion rate and of your website, and so you have tons of way to measure it, and tons of apps to try to improve on a marginal level the CRO. So it's important to take care about your CRO, of course. But I mean, we are today at the end of the journey for the CRO. That means it's not going to be possible to go that higher. So the question is how to move from a focus on the conversion rate to a focus on the customer value or the lifetime value of the customer. And this is a very hot topic now in every country, in every web agencies, for every Shopify customer. Is okay, I have customers, how I will make the most of those customers, how I will engage them, and how I will retain them. And I'm not surprised that since the early 2022, retaining customers is a metric that now is as much important as converting customers, and that's also a new way to manage your website and to put your priority and your effort. So today, my feeling is that the very advanced Shopify merchants, they start to focus on what we call the customer value optimization, the CVO, and that is very rich and needs to be addressed in the coming months.
Yeah, funny enough, I ran a poll a few weeks back when I asked the LinkedIn audience saying, if you were given $100 to spend, how would you split that $100? Is it 100 you spend on acquisition? 80 on acquisition, 20 on retention, 50-50, or vice versa, right? 20 on acquisition and 80. And I was kind of surprised by the results that even if you say today that retention is the key matrix, people are looking at personalization, how to get more from the existing customers. About 60% of them came up and said that they'll spend 80-20. 80% focus was still around acquisition, only 20 and 20% was this. While this depends on the stage of your brand. If you're an early brand, then you'll spend far more money. If you're a little mature, then it's more about offering more to the people who already bought from you, because we know it's 5 times more expensive to sell to a new visitor rather than selling an existing customer. And more than 50% of usual e-commerce orders come from those 90% repeat visitors. So those are some, completely crazy stats that brands needs to look at of, how to deliver those experiences. So all this goes and boils down to trying and treating your customers uniquely. How would you get away from segmentation? I personally, and if I talk about real time and if I talk about segmentation, then I think they're oxymorons because segmentation is historic and real time is something very different. I did want to buy something last week. That doesn't mean if I come back again to your website, I still want to buy the same thing. But I was a segment of buying a blue shirt. Right? So it doesn't work anymore. But from your perspective, William, here, I'd love to see that how would you approach trying to deliver a customer experience for a visitor or one customer uniquely?
Talk to them. Talk to them. That is something that was done today through, newsletter tools or segmentation tools, as you mentioned, but it's not enough, and it's not engaging enough. And so, one of the current shifts that is happening on the web, and many people address this point, is how to talk one-to-one with your customer, how to make your customer feel comfortable and feel listened by you, how to let your customer understand that you take care of him because you know him. And so this is a very big change because it takes time, because it needs new kind of tools. And you talk about real-time tools, real-time engagement. We're here today. And how to deliver this, probably we can talk a little bit more detail about that.
Yeah, perfect. I think it's a good time to delve into what, as per Guillaume, with real-time engagement, right? How can an app on Shopify kind of deliver that for enticing your customers?
Yeah, the funny thing that I observed in the past 2 years, and since the pandemic, is that the real-time video, as we are having now, the real-time video has now a very major footprint in our daily life, at school, in our office, with our family. And why not with our commerce? Why not with our product? It's funny, but it's becoming normal to talk through a screen. Why not with my best product, best brand, with my favorite shop? Why it's not yet there? What's the friction? What's the point? Because the power of the real-time engagement is really incredible. Just imagine that your customers come to you, talk to you, ask a question to you, and you directly answer to him or to her, and you help your customer to finalize their purchase because they have still some questions, and not easy to check through the website, which is a static website, if this or that product is really fit for them or is really doing what they expect the product to do. And so nothing will never replace the face-to-face communication. And this is super powerful. And I mean, this is what we have today in any shop. You are in front of a store associate and you have an answer to your question. So why it's not today something that is the norm on the web? It's going to be the norm in a couple of years, for sure.
So I've always believed this very, very fiercely, that your e-commerce experience should be replicated of how when you walk into a store physically. when you're walking in for the first time, the seller doesn't know you. Will ask you what you want to show. You can go on the collection page, you can go on the categories page to figure things out. But when you're there the next time, then you always know what the customer kind of knows, and then you kind of entice them and greet them. Hi William, welcome back again, kind of a thing. It really helps. And what you're trying to say is also a very important part of customer psyche, that the closer they get to touch and feel the product, the faster the decision making. So on an average, any visitor spends 4 sessions to decide their mind and buy a product on a store. But I think with tools like what you're talking about, William, it might reduce that, and blame it on all the social media that that we kind of live on the world today, right? The endless scrolls and all the kind of experience here. So tell me this, that there are those TikToks and Instagrams and other platforms, Snapchat, who decide to sell, then they don't decide to sell, and then they change, etc. So the whole internet is available with influencers now. Okay. Why is that different than what you're trying to do on a Shopify store? It should be the same, right?
Yeah, it's the same kind of engagement. I mean, talking with your customer and going live with your customer. But you're right, Shwetank. The question is why now that should happen on your Shopify and not only on your social networks. The first point is that there's no opposition, and the stronger you are on the social networks for your customer engagement, and the stronger you will be on your Shopify, because one will nourish the other one. Actually, any brands, they have multiple social networks and multiple kind of audiences which are scattered on TikTok, on Instagram, on Pinterest, on LinkedIn, why not? And those audience, they are sometimes very fragmented. But you have only one e-com, and this e-com is your flagship store, I should say. It's your key asset. So the question is that why you could not, replicate on your e-com the kind of communication that you have on the social networks. And this is the power of real-time engagement. And we are providing this kind of solution. We are not the only one, but we all of us share the same vision that in order to strengthen your e-com engagement, now you need to bring the kind of experience that the social networks are bringing to your audience. And the Gen Z, because we very frequently talk about the Z generation, they are very used to TikTok, scroll, swipe, one click, and so on, and they're very used to a live experience. So if you don't provide this on your website, they will never come to your website. They will feel lost, or they will feel disappointed. So that's why it's time to rethink about the kind of experience you really want to provide on your website. And once again, why your voice is so dynamic on the social networks and so static on the website? Strange.
Yeah, and something very interesting I'd like to share with everyone now is I was having a open discussion, let's call it that way, like a slightly debate, but yeah. And then that person said that e-commerce experience is all about endless scrolling. Like one gets on TikTok or on Facebook or Instagram or things like that. You can just sit there and keep on scrolling the videos and not it keeps on showing you more and more things. And then I just realized, I'm like, you know what? That's your social media behavior. Imagine a visitor coming to your e-commerce store and they continue to scroll endlessly. First of all, you never have so many SKUs to show them. And second, if they are scrolling endlessly, that means you're not able to convert them. It defeats the purpose for you, right? So I think that's a very interesting point that you mentioned, William, that we have to replicate what are the good parts of these social media channels, but also personalize them from the perspective that we take them to a CTA. Make sure that they click on something, make sure they like
Mm.
something, and not just be there and waste the whole infrastructure, etc. Which makes me think about this. So, William, if you're talking about real time engagement, we do a lot of real time stuff. We calculate customers' intent based on micro behaviors, what they are doing on the website, every
Mm.
page, what they search, etc. And what you are talking about is again video, right? Video is complex. The network, the latency, transcoding. There are so many technology angles to it.
Mm.
So does it now has evolved in such a bit that it doesn't impact the loading speed? The experience is good. Are you very happy with the output that your merchants are getting with the whole video enabling?
The merchant will answer that question much better than I would. Yeah, the technology has made enormous progress over the last 5 years, and now we can deliver a signal through the, for example, WebRTC protocol, which is a no latency protocol, and which is a very fast streaming capability. So this is one thing. The second thing that you mentioned, Shwetank, is about does it impact the speed of the website? This is a super concern from any merchant, because once again, when we come back to the beginning of our discussion and the conversion rate optimization, you know that the speed of the homepage, the speed of any page with pictures and video, it's a key driver of the conversion rate, and people they spend millions to improve 1 milliseconds just to make sure that the picture will be on the screen faster than the day before. So there's a challenge for all of us working with video, whatever it's a live shopping video, whatever it's shoppable content, whatever it's YouTube on the homepage. It's about the way you impact the website, and so this is a big challenge in terms of technology. So we measure this point, and on our side, we don't charge video on the homepage. We charge video on dedicated page, which are built to be super fast, and we won't bother the homepage with video. It's too risky, and it could damage, the whole experience.
Yeah, I would agree with that because the bounce rates can go up, and because that's the page where again there are two kinds of visitors in my opinion. There is one which exactly knows what they want, so they'll come to your page, search something, find, add to cart, and then get out. The second one are the medium, low, higher intent, where they might be searching or they might be experiencing their brand. It might be their first visit out of the four that they usually need to take to buy. And overcrowding a lot of things there is counterproductive, and video might be overkill from that perspective. So that I kind of agree. What does it take to integrate a tech like yours? Like I'll tell you where I'm coming from. Is our app on Shopify is a couple of clicks, takes about few seconds to integrate. We automatically sync with all your product, all your images. We sync the past 60-day customer data, and we also generate insights for you that this is the best sold product. This is doing well in this category. And then we use generative AI to generate creatives. We have an OpenAI integration, etc. All those kind of things. But we are in that intent widget space, right? But from a video perspective, how easy or how difficult is the integration on a Shopify App Store for you?
Yeah, I love this question because it occupies us a lot. Actually, the Shopify ecosystem is very demanding, and the merchants on Shopify are also very demanding. We are talking mostly to SMBs merchants, which are always very busy. They have no time to lose with integration, code, and so on and blah, blah. And so it needs to be just one click. So you go to Shopify App Store, you check for our app, you press Add App, and everything will be handled in the backend. So admin, billing will be handled by Shopify. You have nothing to do. And once you add your app, catalog will be synchronized, price will be daily updated, everything will be updated on real time, so that whatever we're talking about, the live or the replay, price, stock, and product will be always updated, even in the replay post-live. So this is super important to deliver an experience which is not only live, but also, you know, after live, because the content that is generated during live is a super qualitative content. And give me 2 minutes to repurpose the point. When you speak live to your audience, you have the chance to engage a discussion. You have the chance to tell your story, to show your product, explain your product, and also to receive feedback through the chat from the people which are connected with you. So the moment that will be live is a unique moment. You will answer the questions, or probably you will go deeper and you will explain more than you would think at the beginning. And so this exchange is a very, the content is very ultra qualitative. And this content is real, it's authentic, it's not fake. You cannot lie with your customer. And so you spend 30 minutes, you spend 45 minutes talking on a product, on a brand, and so on. And then the replay will be also on your website, and it will be something that will drive a lot of audience, because it's always more interesting to watch a video than to watch, you know, simple pictures. And so each of my customers, they have a very huge traffic, and it's very surprising. And people, they stay a long time, you know, watching replays, because they will learn something that you tell before during the live experience.
Exactly.
And so when I round the circle, yes, the integration of the technology is really one click, no more than one click. And once it's done, you just have two things to do: create event, go live. That's all. You create an event, you go live. You create an event, you go live, as much as you want. And the whole story of processing the replay and synchronizing backend and front end, everything will be automated for you.
But that's super helpful, because a lot of merchants that I speak to are, you know, under 10 or under 20 team members on the e-commerce brand, and for them every second is so critical. You know, they're always running around and doing so many things, right from customer support to shipping to packaging to product to etc. etc. So I always think it in this way, that 1 second saved is 1 second earned for them, and whatever automations and however we can make their life easy is very important for us. And I think the steps and process you outlined there, William, we resonate with this, because we also kind of try to do the same. But now that there is one thing that I really want to talk about, is when we talk about these new age deep tech, right? And I talk about personalization, I talk about real-time experiences, the new CX, and all these things. There is a big debate on all of them on the internet, on LinkedIn, on social media, about, are they worth my time? Are they worth my investment? Everybody calculates the return of investment on that. And the perceived value of all this is, like I know very well for personalization, because, you know, that's where I'm coming from. Most of the people will talk about, firstly, that personalization at scale is not achievable. Second, they will say the amount of time we have to spend to integrate products is not worth. Then they will talk about the returns that it offers. It's not worth me paying for that service. Right? So time to value, and then value across. How is this scenario for you? Is it worth the value and investment?
Once again, ask the merchant. For sure, they will have an answer. But when we talk to new customers, basically they give us 3 feedback, and you are right. I have no time. I never have time. It's too expensive, so it's not worth the investment. Okay, so we go back step by step.
Yeah.
About the time you need, so I just explained before how we automate any kind of process to make it very frictionless or seamless. Is it something that, how to say, generates value for me? What is the value you expect today from your customer engagement? And let's go back to this question, because before you don't how to say, when you are in a logic of acquiring customer, you pay social networks a lot of money, you pay Google a lot of money, and it's not a problem for you. You pay 2,000, 3,000 per month US dollar, and it's fine, and you're fine with that, and then you have your traffic and you make a conversion. So now we are talking about a new, economic model where it's not as simple as it was before. So how much is expensive to create a real-time engagement channel on your website, and what are the gains that you expect? Basically, our solution is driven by turnover. So we generate revenue. And when you run the app which are on Shopify today, tell me how many percentage of the 8,000 apps on Shopify are really dedicated to generate revenue? Not that much. Most of the apps, they are here to save time, to reduce, to optimize. How many apps are here to generate revenue, to truly generate revenue during a live experience?
Yeah.
So then we come to the critical moment, it takes time to fine-tune what's working for your brand. And it's true that don't go to real-time engagement if you don't have the patience to learn, and if you don't have at least 3 months to learn and to test and fail and retest again. But I remember a couple of years ago when all the brands, they opened their first YouTube store or YouTube channel or Instagram channel. At that time, nobody knew how it works and how it was working. And everybody was trying. And then at the end, everybody find a way. So real-time engagement is the same. What are you expecting? Do you want to make money? Do you want to build brand equity? Do you want to embody your brand? Do you want to have a channel to engage your customer? Is it something about acquisition or retention or conversion? And so we help each brand to write down a strategy and to write down the reason why they venture into live commerce, live shopping, or real-time engagement. Because you cannot do that by chance. It's impossible. You need to be dedicated to make this channel works very much.
Very, very data-driven. Kind of know that what objectives you want to solve, right? You want to increase sales, you want to get conversion for a particular product or a new category that you're launching, etc. I think that goes very important in setting the objectives for any kind of engagement tool that you want to enable on your Shopify store, right? Like I understand that you're very, very sales driven. I think the numbers would show that somebody was doing X amount of this product purchases, but with your app they saw 2x, 3x, whatever amount of because of the personal engagement. And where we come from is, again, we understand the customer's intent. Are they really here to buy? Then give them something. If they are not here to buy, they're just looking around, then offer them something else, also protecting their margins. So that objective, I think, is so important for a merchant, and only then they can derive success out of it, is something I completely agree. And one of the biggest reason which a lot of merchants miss out is success is always two ways for them. Even if they don't achieve a 2x, 3x, 4x conversion, or revenue X is one part of it. But second, if using the tools, they can reduce their time, bring in those automations, do use the same time in doing some other things. Time is value at the end of it. So reducing your time to operations and also trying to grow the revenue is something what any app should offer, in my opinion. It should be one or both together, the best, but that should be the fundamental basis how they should be judged. So keeping this, I think I had kind of anticipated about this much time for the conversation between us. Guys, the floor is open to you all. In case you want to ask any specific questions, feel free. Guillaume and me will try to address it. And feel free to put something on the chat. You know, our idea here is that we wanted to just tell you a few things from a technology standpoint, what's going on the Shopify app ecosystem. There are around 4 to 5 new Shopify apps get launched on the store every week, right? And Guillaume very rightly pointed out that 90% of them are all on optimizations. They are all how I can do this function for you to help you save that time, how I can do that to make you reduce that step. But where I think where we stand out is while we do offer optimization, we also really deliver the conversion rate optimizations. We also deliver the incremental revenue, which again is very important. And you all know the biggest reason why Shopify or e-commerce in general don't survive. So 95% of them don't survive after a few months is they always end up spending more money on acquisition and are never able to convert enough customers to break even. And that's where we like people to avoid that. Start looking at customer engagement right from day one, come up with strategy, start collecting the data, and then, at least start engaging them. So I see a question from Melanie here. Guillaume, if you'd like to take that.
Yeah, exactly. Any tips on training staff to be on the camera? That's a good point because it's not that easy for sure to be the host of a live shopping experience. So basically, we have two cases today to share. First one, the founder of the brand or the CEO of the brand. They are very easy to to speak to the camera because they know the story and they really have something to share. So we're not talking about QVC style live shopping. We're talking about real, real commerce, real how to say human to human, commerce activities. So for those people, it's very easy to take the floor and to speak about what they've built. And so this is one style. And the second thing that some of my customers are doing is that they're asking their teams which one want to talk to the camera, and they discover that in their teams they have many people doing business on Instagram, and they are very easy on the camera, and so they will raise their hand and say, "Me, I want to speak. I want to speak." So
actually,
nice. So actually, the training, I would say as a joke that it's more about identifying the relevant people in your company, which are, maybe you don't know it, but they are already very well trained to speak against the camera.
Perfect. And I think what better way for a founder or somebody who's very comfortable in the video format to come up and say, "This is my product, guys. This is really cool. You should give it a try." There's no other better person can highlight the values, and why hide it? Let it out in the open. Cool. Anyone else, guys? Any questions? Any thoughts or any feedback for us? We'll appreciate that. While you can always reach back to us on the email, to share some feedback or share some thoughts with us, etc. But we have another 5 minutes here to see if we have any questions coming from you all. So
okay.
Yeah, while we see this, Guillaume, what in your opinion? This is one question I kind of ask all the time is, what in your opinion is the top priority for an e-commerce brand who has been in the market for about 3 years? So they are established from the perspective that people know that they exist, which is hard thing to achieve. They have a product which is somewhat a niche, so that people identify that this is what they're doing. But when it comes to the growth stage, for first 3 years in e-commerce for me is the survival stage, like every startup and every company. But when they come to the growth stage, what would your first top tip for an e-commerce merchant will be?
I will answer in a very human way. I mean, give yourself a chance to embody your brand. And when you are a pure digital merchant, a D2C merchant, it's not that easy. You're always behind the screen. You have a super beautiful screen, super beautiful product, super beautiful pictures. The navigation on your website is perfect, no doubt. But where are you yourself behind the story? And so most of the website, there is a little, in the footer, our story, and there's a picture of the founder and a little blah blah about the founder. Please go to just talk about yourself and show yourself. And so you will create a bond with your audience that is absolutely unbelievable. So embody your brand is my best and only one advice. And choose the way you want to embody your brand, but embody your brand the same as you would do if you would open a shop in the streets.
Incredible. I think that's a really good point. I know a few guys on this call right now who are that profile and would definitely benefit more and more from there. Bring yourself out. What you guys are doing is amazing, and it's hard work. It's not easy. We understand that. Yeah. Let's see. There's another question from R. Oh yeah. Yeah. William, would you like to take that?
Yeah, why not? So, for some devs, it's difficult to understand the marketing and business side of the e-com space for sure. Do I find businesses struggling with this? I would say that those kind of people today, they are not easy to come to real-time engagement because they're a little bit, hidden behind the screen. So I guess it's not an easy game to, as a dev or as someone rather easy with back end to suddenly be front end. One question is how much do you rely on your ecosystem to build your business, and what's the position of your customers, and can the customers talk with you? Are there any influencers in your environment? How do you build your business? Because once you're in the e-com, you have those kind of people around you. And so the beauty of the real-time engagement is that we always talk about you as a founder should speak, but actually it's not only you as a founder. It's also someone in your environment which is related to your business that can also talk on behalf of you, on behalf of the brand. And we saw that very much. So we haven't talked today about the influencer business. For sure, maybe next time we can open the discussion on the influencer business and their position in the real-time engagement. But some of my brands, they rely on nano influence, to convey the voice and convey the message of their brand.
Perfect. And I'd like to add to that, or if I understand your question right, I think that's where the challenge has always been in scaling businesses, and especially e-commerce now, because e-commerce businesses is all about a story. Most of them have created a brand because they connected with something, or they feel they had a problem in their life, or they didn't find a product to their needs, etc. So it's very important for them to bring that out, but they don't come from a tech background, and vice versa. The tech guys who could develop a website, develop a mobile app, didn't come from the marketing side of things. So in the past 10 years, again, I think developing a website and developing a mobile app now, which used to cost an average $25,000, can be done in, less than $25 or even free. So now anybody from a marketing background can go and very easily create a website, and Shopify is a perfect example for it. Go and create your channel. But where businesses are struggling is bringing traffic has become easy, but converting them is still very hard. That's where I think where the whole CRO exercise, trying to add tools like, what we were talking about, or trying to engage with your customer, is where the tech has now started helping. And the beauty of this, that to enable this tech on your merchant store, it doesn't require for you to be technically capable. It's very easy. If you are tech savvy, then it's even better because you can customize and do a lot more things, etc. But if you're not, then also like Guillaume explained, like even Kui, right? Just one click, the data syncs, everything's there. Just go and sell. So thank you all for your question. Hopefully we were able to answer that. Bhagiraj, good to have you on the call. Thank you for joining. Guillaume, I'd like to take a stab at this, the segmentation. Like to add
Go on.
whatever you want to do.
Yep.
So Bhagiraj, I think you can definitely debate on this for hours and hours, right? That what is segmentation? Segmentation is trying to understand what you are doing, and based on your online activities on a particular mobile app or a particular website, you go and bucket them in some number, right? So if somebody came and saw a white shirt, then you go and bucket them in a shirt. Somebody go and wanted to buy a pair of trousers, then you bucket them in a different segment. You can go very granular in a segment, or you can be an high 36,000 feet as well in a segment. But segment and there are a lot of ways to segment it depending on the kind of product you're selling. Even in games, there is a way to segment that who likes thrill, who likes classic, who like adventure, etc. And based on what they were doing, you can segment them. But the fact of the matter, I think, which is coming out more and more, and try to map this segment to your own mind. What you felt like doing yesterday, not necessarily you will feel like doing today.
Yes, correct.
And that's where the real time behavior comes into play. Do you really feel like buying something today? Do you really feel like looking at something today? And that's where the real time experience comes into play, because in the past 5 years or so, the tech wasn't available to capture customer data, generate that to an insight, and engage a customer in real time. But now it is. And especially and most important, all this should not have an impact on your website, which is a very, very critical thing. So the all heavy SDKs, etc., that used to come in the past, right, are not there. Like at Kui, what we do is we look at 35 different micro behaviors of every single user in real time. How soon are they scrolling across pages? Are they going to the page up or down or not? Are they looking at product description? Are they looking at size? Are they looking at that? Every single customer is unique, and that's how we try to engage them in real time. So that is the new age segment, and that segment cannot be created by yourself. It is something which automatically gets created. So the new segment is not a segment, but an individual customer by itself. All right. There's another good question from R. So let's look at that. There again goes, getting traffic isn't exactly micro, perfect. That's fine. However, more important, focus on personalization is important to speed, not delay. Okay. Yeah. The question, will personalization work well if a site isn't optimized for speed? I don't think so. So if I look at the last para, I think personalization comes after the site loading, comes even before. If you're not able to render the site properly, then forget personalization. Even the normal website is a problem. So, the best space. So headless commerce is headless commerce is an enabler. It's a tool. It's not a feature, or it's not something you can build your entire thing. There are pieces of headless commerce that you can add to your Shopify store, or use some other platform at the end. But a speed optimization, I think, is the top CRO rule in anybody's playbook. And there are so many tools available in the market, free ones as well. Just go and put your e-commerce website. It'll give you a very nice course. And I'll tell you that this video is far more bigger than the size that what should be, etc., etc. So I think the speed is definitely something one needs to fix even before. William, if you'd like to add something there, please.
No, I agree. Speed is paramount, and you need to solve that point first. And once your speed is okay, then after you can go deeper into personalization or any kind of new features for engagement.
Yeah. Because again, William was talking about video. If imagine a video on your store which just screws up the speed, it's just going to screw up the entire thing altogether, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, I think speed is paramount. Okay, guys, again, from interest of time perspective, thank you for joining in. Hopefully we were able to share a couple of things with you. You guys are merchants. You come across a lot of different products, a lot of things. But we really request you to keep a lookout on what's happening in technology and give a feel for that. Happy to connect you to Guillaume also directly. Reach out to us. I can connect you to him, but check their app out on the App Store. Guillaume, if you don't mind, you can just copy the link of your app here on the store, and for them to go and check it out. And I'm also going to put Kui's link here. So you guys feel like downloading us from the Shopify App Store, and happy to take you guys through a session to learn from you, and if there are any feedback, happy to incorporate that, because it's all about solving your needs, and if we are not able to do that, then there's no point of all of this anyways. So thank you, Guillaume, for your time. I enjoyed the chat. Looking forward to catching up with you again. And everyone else, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Shwetank. It was really nice to host the webinar with you today. And thanks everyone for your participation. Very appreciate. Thank you so much.
Take care, guys, and have a good rest of the day. Hope to catch up with you again soon. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ciao.